provided by Thomas Allgaier and Frinnis, based on the most relevant posts on LinkedIn about social selling in CW3132. Frinnis is a B2B market research company working with enterprises to optimize their campaigns with account and executive insights far beyond AI. Welcome to the deep dive. If you're a B2B marketing pro trying to keep up with, well, everything in digital sales, this one's for you. We're cutting through the noise today. Just a focused look at the biggest social selling trends we've seen bubbling up over the last couple of weeks. No fluff.
That's right. Today we're unpacking the top social selling trends from LinkedIn. And we're diving real insights here, stuff that could genuinely shift how you approach B2B sales and marketing. Straight from the source, our goal. Really just boil these down into strategies you can think about, maybe even use right away.
Okay, let's dig in then. As we sifted through the sources, it was pretty clear, actually. LinkedIn activity around social selling, it's kind of clustering into 5 main buckets right now. We're seeing stuff on sharpening sales strategies, new product innovations, especially AI, advancing employee advocacy, some key LinkedIn platform trends, and finally, this really interesting mix of community building and thought leadership. So let's kick things off with sales strategies and best practices. What's the biggest shift you're noticing in how people are using LinkedIn for sales?
Yeah, good question. Because what's really striking is this move away from just, product pitches. It's shifting more towards talking about problems. It's less about, here's my solution, and more about sparking a conversation around a challenge the prospect might not even fully recognize yet. Ivan Baranenko mentioned this. Salespeople shouldn't push solutions, but start conversations about potential issues.
That makes a lot of sense. It changes the whole feel of the interaction, doesn't it?
It does. And Keller Granlund gave a great, concrete example. He mentioned his biggest deal actually came from asking a prospect a really simple question. What's the specific documented cost of doing nothing for another year?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Think about it. It flips the script completely. It's not buy my thing. It's what's the cost if you don't change? That's it. That really shifts the focus. You're selling change itself, not just a platform. It makes the prospect look at their own situation first.
Speaking of that different feel, one thing that really jumped out at me was authenticity. Almost everyone seems to agree LinkedIn's real strength. It's for genuine connections. It's not just a broadcast channel. Rachel B. Lee put it really well. She said, nobody wants to be sold to. What we want is to feel seen, understood, and know the person reaching out is real. And Dean said, and he basically said social selling is easier and more effective than just posting content because it's about building that trust, human to human.
Exactly. And that trust piece is huge. Chris Cozzolino drove this home too. He said, LinkedIn isn't a sales platform. It's a relationship platform. He thinks the best sellers on LinkedIn, they don't sell at all. They open doors. They create the right environment for sales through, being helpful and connecting genuinely. And Berthe Borner added that social selling, it isn't quick. It's a marathon built on real people, constant interaction, and focusing on quality, not just speed. It's not about volume. It's about value.
Right. So if that's the approach, what does it mean for sales leaders? Jason Bay had a pretty strong take on this. He basically argued that sales managers have to lead by example, especially with outbound. He warned against this culture of hypocrisy, where leaders tell reps to make cold calls but wouldn't do it themselves. He says, get in the pit and show your reps how it's done.
That directness, it's important. And it links right into sales processes. Marcus Chan pointed out something critical. He said many sales processes are built for internal reporting, not the buyer. His line was, your buyer doesn't care about your 7 stages. They have their own process. That's a bit of a wake-up call, I think. And Dr. Bert Caroline M. echoes this. She says modern sales needs to go beyond just products. It needs sense-making and change enablement. Because buyers, they want to be guided through complexity, not just get a list of features. They need help navigating their internal journey.
Okay, so if the strategy is evolving, how do you measure it effectively? Especially early on. Fazan Haider emphasized that even when you're just starting with social selling, you still need to track the numbers. He suggested something simple, like columns for leads, replies, calls booked, sales made, just basic metrics to see what's working and improve. And Robert Heineke, who's apparently set up over 1,000 sales calls through LinkedIn. Yeah. He shared practical tips, like focusing on actually helping the person and then being really clear about the offer when you do get on a call. He stressed that sales is like fitness. You get better the more you do it. Practice matters.
Okay, so we've covered the strategy shifts, authenticity, leadership. Now, what about the tech? Let's pivot to our second theme, product launches and innovations. AI seems to be everywhere here.
Absolutely. Aditya Nayak introduced something called the Sales Qualification Agent for Dynamics 365 Sales. It's AI-driven, designed to improve lead quality and, make sales teams more efficient. The killer question it tries to answer is, what if your sellers only spoke to leads who were ready to buy?
The dream.
Right. So this tool, it reaches out, does some research, qualifies leads, prioritizes them. The goal is to free up sellers to focus on the actual conversations that lead to deals.
What's interesting, though, and we saw this consistently, is the message that these AI tools are meant to complement human judgment. They're not replacements. A.L. Steinberg pointed this out. AI can boost sales, sure, but it can also damage trust if the buyer just feels like they're talking to a bot. So the key seems to be using AI to amplify the human touch, not replace it. Finding that balance is crucial.
That's a really important distinction, and Roki Hassan built on that. He urged people to shift away from chasing vanity metrics like your SSI score on LinkedIn.
Yes, the SSI score.
Exactly. Move away from that towards more AI-powered, context-driven selling. He mentioned LinkedIn Sales Navigator tools, Lead Finder, Message Assist, real-time alerts. These are examples of how AI can genuinely boost productivity and revenue. It lets sellers focus on, winning the deals, not just ticking boxes.
Right. Using AI to free up time for actual selling. Makes sense. Okay, so we have strategies, we have tools, but who should be using them? Who are the best messengers? That brings us nicely to theme 3, employee advocacy and brand amplification. It feels like there's more and more proof that employee voices drive way more trust and engagement than just, corporate posts.
Oh, totally. It's becoming a massive lever for B2B marketers. Jonathan Levy put it really simply, people follow people. He argued that SDRs, or sales development reps, they're really the face of your brand out there. They amplify reach and build trust because, let's face it, buyers trust actual people, experts, more than generic marketing copy.
It's exactly right. And Alexis Wiktorski even called it a full-on brand amplification strategy, not just a side project. But then the question is, what kind of content works for this? Emma Powney looked at over 10,000 pieces of content. She found key themes were things like new hires, financial results, news mentions, but also, interestingly, even quirky or trending topics sometimes cut through. And Stefan Wetzel suggested turning common customer questions into content, or even just showing insights into everyday work life. Makes the brand feel more human.
That all sounds great in theory, but how do you get people inside the company, especially leadership, to actually buy into these programs? That seems like a hurdle.
It definitely can be. Jason Casada warned that most employee advocacy programs actually fail if they don't have solid leadership support. His advice: clearly show the benefits, not just for the brand, but for the individual employees too. What's in it for them? Brianna Young hammered this home too. She said consistent executive presence on LinkedIn is crucial. Why? Because people want to hear from people, brands. When leaders are active and authentic, it signals that this matters. It's not just another marketing task.
Okay, so assuming you get that buy-in, what's the payoff? What does this increased visibility actually do for the business? Chad Johnson shared a pretty stark statistic. 75% of buyers look up salespeople on LinkedIn. And get this, 42% use that profile to decide if they'll even take a meeting.
Wow, that's significant pipeline impact right there.
Huge. And Dennis Jedlicka highlighted that for entrepreneurs especially, LinkedIn translates directly to trust, reach, visibility, loyalty, and ultimately customer acquisition. Bianca Kolvitz went even further. She called LinkedIn a growth machine, not just for leads, but for existing customer loyalty, personal branding, PR, employer branding. It's way bigger than just lead gen.
That holistic view is important,
Yeah.
which leads us to our 4th theme, LinkedIn platform trends and algorithm insights. The platform itself isn't static, right? It keeps changing.
Definitely. Trung V shared insights from a 2025 Algorithm Insights report based on 1.8 million posts. Some key takeaways. Overall reach seems to be down for many people. Most users are on mobile, which isn't surprising, but good to remember. And engagement signals are shifting. Things like saved posts apparently carry more weight now than likes or shares.
Interesting about the saves, that suggests deeper engagement. But tied to the algorithm is this authenticity concern again. Sabrina Peter had a great line: perfect posts don't build trust, real ones do. She warned that relying too heavily on AI for content could make things feel, less real. Her advice was use AI for ideas, sure, but always add your own voice. Keep it human.
Yeah, that human element again. And we're even seeing individuals set stricter rules for engagement. Robin Daniels updated his own connection criteria. He now requires either 30 common connections minimum or at least 15 common connections, plus a really good intro message.
quality control for connections.
Exactly. It signals a move towards more intentional, qualified networking, less about just racking up numbers.
All this points towards something bigger. Sophie Allen actually predicted we'll see more roles like head of social selling becoming core to go-to-market strategies. Her thinking is, as AI handles more basic outreach, genuine social selling becomes the way to cut through noise and build trust. It becomes strategic, not just tactical.
That makes sense. It's becoming a specialized skill set. Okay, final theme. Let's talk about community building and thought leadership. How are these merging, especially with everything we've discussed about authenticity and connection?
Britta Behrens captured this synergy really well. She said, thought leadership plus social selling, success with impact. Her point was that thought leadership sharing your expertise opens doors. It positions you as credible. Then, social selling turns that trust into actual business relationships. She called the combination unbeatable for sustainable growth, sharing value first, then connecting personally.
That's a powerful combo. And Ashley Faust used a great analogy for the sharing value part. She said sharing your best ideas publicly is like giving out cake slices. People get a taste, they like it, and then they want the whole cake.
I like that. Cake slices.
Yeah. It builds trust and credibility naturally. It attracts people through being genuinely helpful and human-centered.
And Oliver Kerner took a strong stance on this. He asserted, LinkedIn is not a marketing channel. It's your daily acquisition machine. He sees it as a direct sales channel, a place to build trust, have conversations, qualify leads, close deals, all without needing a huge ad budget. He frames it as an active sales engine.
Right, not just passive branding. And Darren McKee's work reflects this too. His social selling cohorts focus on helping people create a thriving LinkedIn community that unlocks hidden relationships and revenue streams. Goo. It's all about using the platform to stand out as a real person, especially now with so much automation. Build the community, build the trust.
Which ties perfectly back to Mandy McEwen's idea of the invisible sales team. Those teams whose cold emails get ignored, whose LinkedIn activity goes unseen, or whose profiles actually hurt trust because they feel fake or inconsistent. The fix, what she calls a modern social selling system, one that makes reps visible, credible, and human. So when they do reach out, it feels warm because that familiarity, that trust is already there.
Making the invisible visible and trusted. Okay, that's a good place to wrap the core insights. If you enjoyed this deep dive, just a reminder, new episodes drop every 2 weeks. And we cover other areas too. Check out our editions on account-based marketing, field marketing, channel marketing, MarTech, go-to-market, and AI in B2B marketing. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into social selling. We really hope these insights give you some food for thought, help you refine your own approach, and connect more genuinely out there. And remember to subscribe so you don't miss the next one.
And maybe just one final thought to leave you with. Considering everything we've talked about, the rise of AI, but also this massive emphasis on authenticity, how will you make sure your social selling strategy really prioritizes that genuine human connection? How will you add unique value, making your team not just visible, but truly indispensable to your prospects? Something to ponder.